Melchizedek is an enigmatic character mentioned in the Bible in two main passages as is relevant. He is mentioned in the book of Genesis, chapter 14, and in the Psalms, specifically Psalm 110. These passages contain limited information about him, which has led to many interpretations and theories over the centuries. In Genesis 14, Melchizedek is presented as the king of Salem, meaning king of peace, and also as a priest of the Most High God. He blessed Abraham after Abraham's victory over the enemy kings. Abraham gave Melchizedek a tenth of the spoils of the battle, which is similar to an act of recognition of spiritual superiority. Psalm 110, in turn, mentions Melchizedek as an eternal priest in the context of the Messianic promise. Jesus Christ is later identified as a priest after the order of Melchizedek in the New Testament Epistle to the Hebrews. Despite mentions of Melchizedek in the Bible, many details about his origin, genealogy, and personal history remain obscure. His figure is often used as a type of prefigurement or symbol of Christ, especially in terms of his eternal priesthood and righteousness. Throughout history, different religious traditions and interpretations have attempted to understand Melchizedek's meaning and role in Scripture, but he remains largely an enigma. You are correct in your description of the encounter between Abraham and Melchizedek as recorded in the book of Genesis. The encounter occurs after a successful military campaign led by Abraham to rescue his nephew Lot, who had been captured during a war between local kings. Melchizedek is introduced as the king of Salem and a priest of the Most High God who blesses Abraham and brings bread and wine as part of a significant encounter. This episode is enigmatic and intriguing, mainly because Melchizedek is not previously mentioned in the biblical narrative, and the Bible does not provide details about his origin, genealogy, or parentage. His sudden adventure and his action of blessing Abraham and receiving priestly gifts have led to various interpretations and speculations throughout history. Melchizedek is often considered a type or prefigurement of Christ, especially in relation to the priesthood. The New Testament Epistle to the Hebrews makes an important connection between Melchizedek and Jesus Christ, arguing that Jesus is a high priest in the order of Melchizedek and therefore superior to the Levitical priesthood. This interpretation emphasizes the superiority and modernity of Christ's priesthood in relation to the Levitical priesthood. Despite the lack of information included about Melchizedek in the Bible, his figure plays an important symbolic and theological role in the Scriptures, highlighting the importance of the priesthood and divine justice. His story remains an enigma, but his presence in the biblical narrative serves as a focal point for spiritual and theological reflections. On the identity of Melchizedek, the story mentions two different theories about who Melchizedek could have been. The first theory suggests that he was the son of Noah, blessed by God. This implies that he was an important figure in Noah's lineage and therefore a spiritually significant figure. However, the Bible does not provide many details about Melchizedek's genealogy. The second theory presented is that Melchizedek was a special being, born circumcised. Circumcision was a sign of covenant with God in the Old Testament, and therefore this characteristic would make Melchizedek a unique and spiritually significant figure. Furthermore, he is credited as the one who taught the Torah to Abraham. Regarding his relationship with Abraham, history suggests that, if Abraham represents the nation, that is, Abraham's descendants form a nation of Israel, Melchizedek represents the priesthood. This implies that Melchizedek played an important role in religion and spirituality, complementing Abraham's role as the father of the nation. Melchizedek of a riddle that leaves us perplexed. This reflects the mysterious and enigmatic nature of the figure of Melchizedek in religious tradition. His lack of a clear genealogy and his ambiguous role have led to diverse interpretations throughout history, and he continues to be a topic of study and debate among religious scholars. Melchizedek, the king of Salem and king of righteousness, offers Abraham bread and wine and blessings. This act of victory is fundamental, as it involves the transfer of a highly important priestly role. Abraham, the father of the nation, is now also blessed as a priest. This symbolizes a remarkable transfer of spiritual authority. Before this encounter, the priestly figure was implicitly linked to Shem, but now, Abraham and his descendants are invested with this sacred role. The passing of the spiritual torch, so to speak, indicates a significant shift in the spiritual dynamics of the story. This change of role is not just a historical curiosity, but has profound implications for theology and subsequent biblical narrative. It sets the stage for the Levitical priesthood and eventually for the central role of priests in the Jewish religion, especially during the Temple period in Jerusalem. This role transfer also raises questions about the relationship between the nation, represented by Abraham, and the priesthood, represented by Melchizedek. How do these roles intertwine? How does this change affect the relationship between God and his chosen people? These are deep and complex questions that need to be explored throughout religious history. Therefore, as we consider the story of Melchizedek, we not only see an enigmatic encounter, but we also witness a crucial spiritual transformation that shaped the course of religious history. A change of role that resonates through the pages of the Bible and challenges us to reflect on the complex relationships between faith, leadership, and divine destiny. Melchizedek is a mysterious character in the Bible whose importance is mainly related to his role as a priest and his symbolic connection with the priesthood of Christ, although his personal history and origin remain shrouded in mystery. In summary, the reports address the interpretations and theories surrounding the figure of Melchizedek in religious tradition, highlighting his enigmatic identity and his importance in religious history, especially in the context of the Old Testament of the Bible.